Look at that.
There we go.
Oh,
It's
Lord.
lunchtime. I don't know if both these plates are going to fit on.
Oh, yeah, we'll make them fit. Don't worry. We'll make them fit. Chef, this is like unbelievable because I think that this is going to get stolen. Look at this.
Well, that's what it came for.
This
I
is
brought a
beautiful.
nice buttery.
Thank you for
very
joining.
nice
I
to
really
be here,
appreciate
very
you
nice to
making
be
the
here.
trip. So Chef got down here nice and early. It's usually like I'm praying for these chefs, these people, please get here 15, 20 minutes early. You got down here nice and early.
I was down here nice
Being
and early,
worried
grabbed
about
a coffee,
coming.
took a walk around the city. It was nice.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
Well, come on in here. We're going to talk about this first. So we've got some phenomenal history to talk about with the Lobster Pot overall.
Lobster
Because
Pot's
you
been
guys have
around for
got
a
some
very long
amazing.
time.
That's what I'm getting asked about right now. But tell me about what you brought here because this looks beautiful. So
Well, this is one of our staples. This is our big stuff fisherman style lobster. This is a 2-pounder.
That's 2 pounds.
This is a 2-pounder right here, and that's always
How could you go wrong with this? Look at this. Tony, I got the angle right? Look at that.
the only way you can make that better is with a nice prime rib sitting next to it, surf and turf.
And a bottle of Clos de Bois here.
This is a nice buttery Chardonnay that to wash all this down, and this is another one of our newer favorites. This is our fresh picked lobster pizza grill.
So it's a lobster pizza.
It is
So
fresh
what's-
basil, asparagus, artichoke hearts, beefsteak tomatoes, and a nice light olive oil and garlic sauce.
Okay, so first of all, if you couldn't go along with the big stuff lobster, and I have to say, I was talking to the chef when we were talking about Ring Mountain. This is the last thing I had when I ate. That was the big stuff
And that's
lobster.
why we brought
And
it.
I was there for like an hour and a half, just enjoying and savoring this thing. But this, so it's got all my favorite things. You said lobster, asparagus,
Fresh basil.
fresh basil, artichokes.
Yep, artichoke hearts.
That's,
Fresh garlic.
Unbelievable.
It's nice, it's light, and like I said, with the Chardonnay.
but that's like a meal into itself.
It is,
Right
that
there.
is. You know, with somebody of appetite my size,
Yeah.
definitely.
Chef and I are
Maybe
we're
both of
going
these.
back on these
Maybe
things there.
both of these.
All right, and then you brought a beautiful staple, the Clos de Bois, which you got to have a little bit of with me.
Absolutely.
It's this.
Wouldn't let you
So,
drink alone.
thank you, Chef. I appreciate that. So tell me about your background before we get into the history of Lobster Pot, because
Well, my first industry job was actually at the Lobster Pot when I was 13 years old.
13.
Yeah,
So that
13.
was what, 10 years ago?
That was about 15 years ago. But I was out and about and got kicked around in a couple different kitchens, and here we are 15 years later, and I ended up back
At 13.
at 13.
Good for you. Cheers.
So,
So,
very nice pairing with the lobster.
like I said, this has been a great day. I'm getting Chardonnay all day long. So you'll notice it go back in my hand because I will be drinking while the chef is talking. So, 13 years old, you started in this business and you haven't left it.
I haven't.
So-
Well, very briefly, I got out and got into the distribution side of it, but once you get sucked into the kitchen, that's it. It just
owns
calls you back in.
Yeah, it owns you. So is all of your training from being in the industry?
Yes,
That's fantastic.
Yes.
So you've gone through this since you're 13 years old, and now you're running the Lobster Pot.
I am.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank
That's
you
a
very
huge
much.
achievement. And talk about learning from the ground up. 13 years old and starting, that's amazing. It's like I was washing dishes when I was 13. So, Chef, talk to me about Lobster Pot's history, and then we'll get into more of the menu, because
Well-
the building and the restaurant itself is extraordinary.
The Lobster Pot's been there since 1929.
1929.
1929. It was a little bit more rustic when it first opened up. Communal tables,
Right.
lots of fried food, fried clams, sandwiches. It wasn't a full-service restaurant like it is today.
It was more touristy when they first
Yes,
got started,
absolutely,
right?
absolutely. You'd walk in there, there'd be tables 10 feet long. You could be sitting with people you know, people you don't know, one
Right.
of those kind of things. The current ownership stepped in 1986, and they did a full demo on the place. They remodeled it from the ground up, made it a full-service restaurant, because originally it was only open for like May to September kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, so seasonal.
Yep, very, very seasonal, and they built out the nice bar and kind of built it up to what it is today, full functioning restaurant, and years later, they put on that beautiful patio on the side.
So let's talk about that, because that's a patio becomes kind of a hidden gem.
Yeah,
as a Lobster Pot.
absolutely.
And how many does the patio seat, do you know?
About 100.
100 on the patio.
Yeah.
So you're almost practically doubling your
We
seating
doubled the
capacity,
restaurant. We doubled
right?
the restaurant.
So the Lobster Pot, it is a good size. So 100, I think it's like between 80 and 100 seats at the Lobster Pot normally.
On the
right now?
inside, we can do about 180.
180. So you're doubling it, adding another 100 seats
Yep.
to be out there.
Yep.
That's amazing. So
And it
that's,
doesn't put any strain on the kitchen.
yeah, I bet. I'm sure. That's where I sat and had this was outside last summer.
Well, that's
so
the place to do it.
It's absolutely
You feel like
spectacular.
you're on a cruise ship out there.
Well, and you've got these beautiful breezes that are coming in, so you're comfortable in
Yep.
sitting out there.
Yep.
It's just the atmosphere. You don't, truthfully, you don't feel like you're in Rhode Island anymore. You really feel like you've traveled, and for people coming from Providence, it is a trip when you're taking it out there. But the destination itself and the history behind it, you still kept the historical aspects of the building are still there.
Oh, yeah. The actual structure of the building has not changed one bit, because that's in the historical district. So when they
Right.
rebuilt it up, it had to stay pretty much exactly as it was originally.
So I got a question earlier that was for DeWolf, and I was asked to ask you the same thing this weekend for the holidays. You guys are open.
We're open all weekend. We're going to be closed for the 4th of July parade because we are on the parade route, so we're shut down 114.
Right, so you'll be open for the 4th. Do you open after the parade, or?
No, we have a private breakfast in the morning, and then we're pretty much shut down all day. The road is shut down, and the town is just hopping. I mean, Bristol is alive right now.
It's this time of year, and 4th of July, the oldest parade in the country, you can't miss that. So now let's talk about the menu, because that's really what I want to highlight, being that there's a summer of seafood items. These two things are extraordinary. Tell us a little about some of the other items that you have on the menu.
Well, right now what I'm trying to do is we're trying to stay loyal to the customers that have been going in for 30 years and staying with a lot of the classics like the baked stuffed lobster. Now I'm trying to open the menu up and get into more exciting dishes.
Experimenting.
Exactly.
Okay.
Trying to test things out a little bit. We did come out with a new summer menu about a week ago. We let it out.
Oh, so it's only been a week.
It's only been a week.
There we go,
Just-
news.
Yeah. And the lunch menu will be done shortly after that. But just trying to bring new, exciting dishes that people haven't seen come out of the Lobster Pot kitchen in the last 30 years. You know.
That's excellent, so you're being more creative with it. Is everything locally sourced, or is it predominantly locally sourced?
Predominantly, yes.
That's coming out there. So what are some of the things that guests can, other fishes that they expect to find in the lobster?
We have swordfish, we have scallops, we have cod, we bring in halibut, a lot of specials. We do a lot. Salmon has become the most popular fish in our
Salmon,
kitchen.
really?
Salmon is, salmon flies out of there, can't keep it in there.
That's funny, because
sole.
salmon you think about being more towards the
Yeah,
off-season.
it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things. But sole is another one. We started to say a lot of shellfish, local little necks, local quahogs. It's oysters. Trying to open up the oysters.
Yeah.
You know.
So if we've got, this goes back to the choice aspect of it. And I mentioned at the beginning of the segment that these restaurants are open all year round. So it's not like that you're just having to go in the summer. But in the summer, seafood becomes prevalent. There's a lot more of it. It's easier to get. And it's a lot more local at
Yep.
that point to get it out of there. But this is a destination year round to go out to. And the fact that they've been around since the 1920s is an amazing feat. So guests coming in, you've got a giant mix, like some of the other guests I've talked about.
Oh, yeah.
From tourism to locals that
Yep.
are there. Like you said, people have been coming in for the last 20, 30 years.
Absolutely.
But from the tourism perspective, do you find, similar to what I was talking about just now with Chef Maxim Hemingway's, do you find that people are coming in and willing to experiment because they're more?
The tourists, absolutely. They seem to be a little more willing to try something new, whereas a lot of your regulars kind of stick to what they know.
Right.
And that's the part of it that I really enjoy, trying to open people's eyes to some new things.
How do we get the regulars, so people that are in Rhode Island, how do we educate them? Similar to what I was talking about Chef Max, is that part of what you're trying to do now?
I'm trying to learn how to do that myself, and I think we're so far we've been pretty successful. We've added on a bunch of new appetizers, things like I said that you'd never see come out of that kitchen before, and they seem to be going over pretty well. And I think the more people see that, then the more it'll catch on, and they'll be willing to try.
So from your staffing perspective down there, is the staff, I'm assuming you're doing trainings on a regular basis,
Yep.
educating them
Yep.
so they can get out to the customers?
Absolutely.
And then the wine program, so your wine list was pretty nice.
Well, I'm sure you know Jeff, and he's the one who takes control of the wine list, and he knows his wine. We're all along for the ride.
When I was there and I did this, I actually did a flight before we had a bottle.
Yep.
But I did like this kind of a flight where I was trying a few different wines that were coming out that they were recommending
Yep.
to do it. But that's got to be an important part of your program, right? And I like to ask this because people like to know, even not just from the wine perspective, but you guys have got a nice cocktail list that you have out there,
Yep.
and pairing it up. So the staff is kind of trained and.
Yeah, our bar staff is very knowledgeable when it comes to pairings, and I'm constantly out there trying to find out what would be the best thing to pair with it, because one of the things I enjoy doing is incorporating the wine and the beers into the food.
So somebody just said that somebody said you have a great beer selections as well.
Yeah, we do.
That you have out
We
there.
absolutely do. And we just put a draft system out on the patio, so now you
Nice.
can go out there and have draft.
That's brand new. That wasn't there last year,
That's
right?
brand new. He just brought
There
that
you
in.
go, the new
So
thing.
come
See,
on
we're
now,
getting all
some
this.
draft
Chris is
beer.
dropping all this news without even knowing he's dropping it.
See
So you
that?
got a new beer system out on the patio.
We do.
Excellent. Well, I want to make sure that I miss anything. So we got the new beer system. We talked about the patio. We've got this. You guys are open for the holidays, so we're good with that. Is there, from the last two questions that I usually try to get out there, is from your perspective, what would you say is the most popular dish that people are coming in for? Because you got the combination tours and locals. And then second, two-part question. So the second part is, what is it that you would recommend or that you want to see come out, one of your favorite dishes that you like preparing in the kitchen?
Well, the most popular items that we do, this is the most popular item right now.
Really?
In the summertime, baked stuffed lobsters fly out of it.
That's why when he talked to me on the phone, he said, of course you had that.
Yeah, well, it goes without saying. What I would recommend, my favorite dish on the item, is actually not even an entree, it's an appetizer. It's a
Really?
new surf and turf appetizer we just put on the summer menu, and it's a U10 scallop.
Okay.
It's like a golf ball, from George's Bank.
That's a big scallop.
And it's pan-seared. It's got a nice slice of beef tenderloin over the top.
Okay.
It's topped with a little horseradish cream and a fried garlic chip, and it's absolutely delicious.
Oh, wait. You got the scallop, the garlic, say that, you gotta go.
It's A nice big
Big
U10
scallop.
scallop. It's got a slice of beef tenderloin carved over the top,
Oh my
a
God.
dollop of horseradish cream, and then a fried garlic chip.
And that's an appetizer?
That's an appetizer.
That sounds like
And
a
that is my
meal to me.
favorite dish on the menu.
All right, so you got to check that out. That sounds absolutely wonderful. Chef, this has been fantastic. I truly appreciate you coming down and making
glad
the
I
trip
could
to
bring you
this.
lunch.
Oh my God, this is like, I think we're going to be fighting over this back there. But thank you so much, and I'm going to come see you after this so you and I can grab a picture together before I close
Absolutely.
out. But thank you again for making the
Thank you
trip
for
and
having
joining
me.
me. It's fantastic.
Thank
So
you.
Lobster
I'm gonna
Pot.
take this on
No,
my way out.
absolutely. I'll be right out